And how does this ambition influence the work you do, the music you make?
Start at the front and work your way to the back. It influences everything we do, whether it be writing music, whether it be the artwork, whether it be being on stage, whether it be doing interviews. You know, we're very passionate about what we do, and we didn't come here to lose. So,
I mean, the success, I think, speaks for itself. You know, that's why it happens, because you just have to work harder than the next guy. You just have to want it more than the next guy, and you will have to willing to fight for it. Whatever it is, and fighting. I mean, not bare knuckle bros. Fighting of you need to know what you want, and you need to voice what you want. So in business, let's say we are a band, but we have to deal with, let's say, a record label or a promoter or whatever it is. We have to deal with them in a way like we know what we want, we know what we can do, and we will have a hard line, like this is what we want, this is how we want it, and that's part of it, and that comes from that attitude of like, we came to win, In war, second place is not an acceptable position.
Stay hungry.
You know what I mean?
Stay hungry.
And as bizarre as it sounds, everything is a war. That quote that you said like was probably misconstrued, also included when I was talking about war. That's when this quote came from. I was saying like, look, a Buddhist monk is a very peaceful creature by nature, right? And everybody looks at it as sort of a representative of peace. A Buddhist monk is sitting in the mountains meditating. What he's really is doing, he's at war. And he's at probably the most vicious war of all, because he has to subdue his own consciousness. You're fighting yourself now. So that's even, I think that's the highest level of war. And because you have to fight yourself.
So is that the same way you approach it? That not every day, but you fight with your own conscience, basically, to perform well?
Not your conscience. It's fighting battles within yourself. I mean, you want to supersede what you did the day prior.
Yeah.
You want to keep evolving as you go. I mean, otherwise you become stagnant, and at that point you're just a walking piece of meat.
Yeah, look at every athlete; they kick their own asses. Mm-hmm. That's where you go train, and you train to the point when your body says no, and you mentally push yourself to like, no, we're doing it. Mm-hmm. It's just one more squat. Come on, one more, one more bench press, and you have to, whatever it is. And it's. I think if you take that attitude and you reflect it on yourself, 100%, anything you do in life, it affects. Then whatever you do, you will be successful.
Well, is this something that came out of, because you do a lot of martial arts, MMA, you're into, is it something that came along with it, or was it already instilled in you?
I guess since all of us, all the band members kind of have the same sort of attitude. I mean, I can't speak for them where it came from. I would say it's probably coming from life experiences, and how, that's why this band is together. That's why this is the band, because you will get together with people who have the same sort of mentality. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. Why are we here? Why are we together? Because we have the same goals, the same attitudes about things. So all of us developed it, and I'm the martial artist in a band, but these guys have the same attitude. So I would assume it's not really just coming from martial arts, because otherwise they wouldn't have it. So to me, definitely.
Okay.
Well, that's part of it, but but I think.
And as different as we are as individuals, he nailed it right on the head. We still have the same goals and the same ambition. So I think at the end of the day, that's really what separates us from a lot of other projects and a lot of other artists. We have that passion, that compassion, that every day is new, and we're going to go out there and stomp some ass. So.
Well, then this new undertaking, the new album, it's going to be a double album.
It is.
Why did you choose to do a double album?
Well, we were coming. Well, it wasn't like really a choice first. What happened? We were coming back from the last tour, and it was very, very successful. We were headlining arenas. The band just got its third gold record. So we were really in a position where like, wow, this is happening. The dreams are coming true. So everybody was in that perfect mindset. Let's go to the studio. Let's do another one. And we went to the studio, started recording, and songs were coming out better and better. And then at one point you look back like, well, how many songs do we have?
I looked at him, I go, how many songs do we have now? Because I've been here for like 4 months. He goes, 24, 25? I'm like, holy shit.
And then we're looking back at the material, and normally what you do is like you take your 11 best songs, and the rest will be like bonus tracks, this and that. That's what generally works. And as we're looking at the songs, we were like, well, this has to be on a record, that has to be on a record, and we're looking at it and it's like, okay, what are we gonna leave off of the record? And that's how the idea came about. Like, okay, there's nothing here that we can throw away. This is all really the best of the stuff we ever written. So let's do a double record. We gave it to the label, the idea, saying like, hey guys, we want to do a double record because we have all this material and we want to put it out. We're really excited about it. Label said the same thing, like, well guys, let's just look at it. The best 10 songs should be the album, and then we handle the rest. So we're like, okay, well, here you go guys. You decide what's the 10 best songs,
And they came back and they told
came
us,
back
like,
like,
okay, fine, we're doing a double
I
album.
guess it's a double record, yeah. And that's how it came about. The only compromise we did, the title is so long, I can't pronounce it. Ivan has his method to
Well, originally, since it was going to be 2 separate discs released at the very same time, one of them, the first one was going to be called The Wrong Side of Heaven, and the second one was going to be The Righteous Side of Hell. But once we found out that we were going to stagger them, excuse me, we decided, we were like, well, let's just put the entire title in its entirety on both of them and just call it Volume 1 and 2. And the reason we decided to stagger it was because, 24 songs is a lot to digest. I mean, usually if I get a new CD, it takes me a month or two just to get the feel of it, because I want to listen to it front to back and really envelop it. So we were like, well, instead of throwing it all down their throat at once, we'll give them about a 3-month window. So they can have time to take in and digest the first one, and then move on to the second one once it comes out. But they're so symbiotic; they belong together, and that was another thing. We didn't want to just put one aside and say, "Okay, we'll release that in a year or so." Da da da. I mean, they're absolute Gemini twins. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but same mind state. We recorded in the same time, same sound, same producer, same everything. So we wanted to make sure that it come out close enough to each other that people will understand that it's part 1 and part 2, instead of considering as record 4 and 5, because if it's record 5, you may come back and say like, well, why did you guys repeat the same album? Because when we didn't repeat it, it belongs together, so that's why.
How then did you pick the songs that went on one and the other?
It was hard.
That was hard.
Because was there a method to it, that there's certain thematic
Well,
elements?
first, the theory was we're going to make one, let's call it more ear-friendly, and then the other one was going to be more aggressive. And we were like, well, that's going to segregate our fans, and we don't want to do that, So we had to find like an even flow, to keep the balance on both of them. But the task of it was really because, like he'd want one song on the first one, and I wanted another one, and so it was really hard to find the balance. But at the end of the day, man, he's even said it a few times, some of my favorite tracks are on the second CD. So I'm stoked. I think it's going to be fantastic.
If you swapped it, if the second CD would come out first, that would be perfectly fine. It's like,
exactly.
What I mean? So really the goal is for us at least, when you make a new record, or any record, in my opinion, this is why people make set lists in their iPods, because they don't want to listen to the same kind of vibe all the way through. And I think that's one of the reasons that we actually fairly successful at selling records while nobody's selling records, because if you give a musical journey, like there's a variation and a variety of songs, then you can listen to a whole album without getting really bored. I think that's important, because that's what gives value to your record. Instead of you drop 11 of the same songs, people are gonna download 2, 3 maybe, and then not buy the record. So the record has to be a journey from the beginning to the end. And to us, what was important to have a flow on both. It doesn't matter which one came first, but individually the record has to be a journey. Like the songs have to flow.
Yep.